Did Prime One Studios go too far trying to make this Yautja from the movie Prey? Maybe. Give it to you. Wait for you to get it on your own. Thank you for tuning into the Extreme Channel. Let me get a few disclaimers out of the way before we review this Prime One Studios 1/3 XL statue of this Yautja, the feral predator from the movie Prey. So first of all, yes, I'm wearing the same shirt I was in my video last week talking about predators. That is a coincidence. This is filmed like 3 weeks later. Number two is I apologize for the lighting. When a statue weighs like 150 pounds, you don't really want to move him. So we're just going to review him, and we built him in place, which you're going to see in this review today. So I was a fan of the movie Prey. I wasn't initially a fan of the look of the feral predator, but the second time I watched the movie, it grew on me. Not only the movie, but the look of the feral predator. So I decided to go all in on this, even though it was a $3,000 purchase, plus shipping. And he's here. He's fantastic. We're going to talk all about him today. And I think they went too far, though. And what I mean by that is really on the design options, which we will cover. It's almost too much, and it creates a little bit of problems I haven't seen before. If you're unfamiliar, this feral predator is a Yautja from the movie Prey, as I said, and it predates any of the other Predator movies as far as when the time setting was. It's actually the second most recent Predator movie, maybe third if you count the animated series. Check out my previous video on Predators right here if you're curious. So this took place like 300 years prior with some Native Americans, and had a female heroine, which was pretty cool, who defeated this predator. But there were a few things that were off in the movie. Like parts of his technology were more advanced than the other predators, and parts were not so advanced, which makes kind of sense. And then obviously his look is very different. So, by the way, I just watched a documentary, and Deck in the newest Predator movie, they made him different because they wanted you to like him. I'm like, oh, that's kind of clever. They did not want you to like this guy because he is ugly as sin. But let's talk about the concept of this. What I love that Prime One Studios is doing with their 1/3 line here, they all have matching bases. I don't like the outer museum style, but it matches, and then it has the scene from the movie. This one has so much crap on it, and we're going to look at that closer on a few different things. But it's all scenes from the movie, and then as you move up, he's in an attack position. Not only is he in an attack position, but he has tons of stuff all over him. He has trophies and weapons and some other cool stuff as well. So I guess he just has trophies and weapons. But right now, the design options I have him with are he has the shield up, and he has his combi stick, and we're going to talk all about that. And he is roaring, his mouth is open, he doesn't have his mask on, I have it on the base there. And ready to kick ass and fight. I think of all of them, this is probably the most animated one. It has the most movement in it. It's still not a lot. It's almost a museum-style pose where he's posing, but it's fantastic. I think there's a few design issues, but it doesn't infiltrate. That's the wrong word. Doesn't penetrate. That's definitely the wrong word. It doesn't influence the concept, which I give a 5 out of 5. Now the design. A lot to talk about here. Probably the majority of the video. We will do some paints up for some close and sculpt. We will do some close-ups for some paint and sculpt. I haven't been drinking yet. So before we go into the design, let's look at the unboxing and assembly. 2 big boxes. One actually weighed 120 pounds. Classic styrofoam and tape from Prime One Studio with 4 different layers of pieces. Now, I did film the assembly. It was kind of a pain in the ass because it was already in station at this setup place, and unfortunately my body blocked most of it, so I'm not even going to show you that. But I will show you some of the assembly manual in a second. All right, so we're going to measure him. He is allegedly 1/3 scale, meaning 3 times smaller than a real-life version. What Prime One Studios did is they first released this Jungle Hunter right here, which you can go back and check my review, and they overscaled it, probably by about 15%, maybe 20%. And then they said, yeah, we did that on purpose. We're making all of our Alien and Predators XL 1/3, which, whatever. But, so the base is very similar sizes to the previous ones. It's right at about 26 inches. The height, we'll go to the head, is about 35.5. And then you have a number of switch outs that get it over 40 inches high. And then depth is going to be right under 28 inches or so. So that makes these very hard to display. I have them on a Max Magic case. If you want to know the exact dimensions, check out Spec Fiction. That's where I buy a lot of my Prime 1 Studios. There's a link in the description below, and you can actually use the code EXTREME and get a discount. I don't know if they have any left, but definitely check them out for not only Prime 1, but other statues as well. So with design on this guy, the assembly, as you kind of saw, that was a rough assembly to put together, was fairly easy. It was just cumbersome. It just took a while. Don't believe me? Here are the different display options, and then I'm going to show you a little video that actually makes it even more complicated. So we're going to start with the left arm, which you can be pointing down with the palm open. Then you can change the gauntlet, so he's pointing to the side with a fist. You can do it where his shield isn't deployed yet. You can do it with a deployed shield. Or he can be holding half of his combi stick, which you can switch out for the club or the blade, bloody, non-bloody. And you're also going to see this on the other hand as well. So with the other hand, you can do fist with blades. You can do that without blades, of course. You can do all of them without blades. Again, part of the combi stick. The whole combi stick, and again, there's some switch out options you can do. He can be holding the bear trap, which you're also going to see on the base. There's the cut clamp, which can also be rolled up and on his belt. Then you have two different nameplates you could display. I put these back in the box. I don't like nameplates. There's his net ball that not only has a light up feature, but also you can put it in a net and hang it on his waist. A ton of Easter eggs actually on the base. Some are movable, some are not. And I'm going to do some video of the base right now, and then we're going to come back and look at the 4 different portraits. So I usually don't do this when talking about design. You're going to get some video for the paint and sculpt, but I think there's a lot of things to address here. So first, we went over all the different display options. There's double display options, and you do see that in a few of the other Predator statues. What I mean by double display is, for example, right here, he's holding the disc, but then the disc is also secured on his side. So you technically only want to display one of those at a time. That's what you have a lot of going on here. Like the cut clamp, when we looked at that, he's not holding it now, but you also have the option to hang it when it's all wrapped up. Same thing with the bear trap, or the trap right here. It's on the ground. I don't have him holding it, so it works really well there. There's a few different instances of that. And then you have some other things like his combi stick. So here's his combi stick, which is supposed to be hanging from the back. And you're supposed to tie everything up. I think that is incredibly stupid. There's about 5 different things you tie up. You have 2 skulls. You have the clamp, the cross clamp. You have the combi stick, which is supposed to be tied to the back and hanging where you'd never see it. There's some little gun. I don't know if this is his medicine gun. And then the other layer this adds on to it, while there's some cool stuff on the base, there's way too much. I mean, I don't want to display this because I have half of it displayed up there. I do like putting their masks on the base, as you can see with some of the other ones, but where do I put it? We could have went without the barrel. We could have went without the pot. They weren't integral parts of the storyline. I'm glad the rifle's there. So it's kind of a mess when it comes to those things. So I think that is a miss with the design. This is what makes it too much. You have an unmasked closed mouth right here. A roaring mouth, which is how I always like to display it. Then a roaring mouth with a mask. Now the masks do have a light up feature. It's very light and it's a pain to put the batteries in and turn on. You can see right here. And then a closed mouth with a mask and some huge portrait stands for the extra heads. I forgot to show you, I do have the net ball hanging in the back. And there's too much going on here. They just went overboard. And what's funny to me is his main weapon that he uses his targeting for, it's like the spear gun. It is technically on his back, but they don't have it as an option in his hand. So I think that's a huge miss. That's the weapon he used the most in the movie, and we can't even display that. So it's like, we're going to give every option possible, but the main option. So it was too many options, especially some of those weapons he only used for a moment. And you know, you have the combi stick. I don't need 5 different ways to display that. So you could have cut down quite a bit. And I know some people are like, you're complaining you got too much. Well, that all adds to the cost. So I would have preferred a lower cost with less options. And I know you're saying, Mr. X, they did have that available. Yeah, but I can't buy a cheaper version. We'll talk about that in value for a second. But anyway, I think the design's still a 4 out of 5. Everything fit together really well. Too many options, but of course you always can take the liberties to remove some and display what you like. But it's not perfect by any means. Now let's do a deep dive into the paint and sculpt. Here is some close-up video. I wanted to start with the base before I put anything on it to give you that paint and sculpt vibe. Obviously it has the museum base that all the other Predator statues do. I'm not a fan. It looks plastic. But this is, I don't know if this is the best base or not. Here's, some of the competitors. But I think this is the best base. Really reminds me of the movie. It was that winterized forest. I haven't even put everything in yet, so you'll see what goes here. Almost looks like the campfire, maybe. But I love these sticks, the effect, the sculpt, how the paint is layered in. Now, it's a ton of browns, but it looks really good, whether it's the barrel or the hides on the barrel, the rope around the trees, the wood on the bark. Looks like real wood, looks like a tree. They did an amazing job. There's tons of Easter eggs. The telescope there. You have, is that a horseshoe or a trap right there? Some broken stuff up here. Just absolutely amazing job on the base overall. Let's also do the paint and sculpt of these portraits and stands before we go to the main Predator. So I think these are probably the weakest portraits that they've made so far, and I think it's because of the design of the character, not necessarily the execution, with a few exceptions. But I love the spaceship modern age of the headstands, although it doesn't really go with the creature from 300 years ago. They are considerably bigger than previous ones. You can see there's some back there. I mean, considerably bigger, at least 2, if not 3 times the size. So all of the, as we talked about in design, the tendrils, I think it works really well with this piece. I don't know if it's going to work well with future pieces. I do have a Scar Predator upstairs that I need to unbox. But the decals I'm not a huge fan of on all the eyes. Obviously, these two, you can't see the eyes. And then the inner workings of the mouth. Just not what I typically see with a Predator. I don't know if it doesn't have that glistening dark effect with some veins in there. But the portrait's just ugly. The bone mask does look great, though. I'm a big fan of that. We'll look closer at the portrait, the roaring unmasked portrait, in a moment here. So you can see some of the things we put on the base that we talked about in design. The rifle, I'm a little disappointed in this. It doesn't look like real wood. They have wood there. It has this gloss and enamel on it. Kind of looks, not plastic, that's not the right word. But the tree in the back also looks great too. But the Predator himself, I think they did a very nice job on his skin. There's a lot of ridges. I think that's the only way to say it. And they give it that glossy effect, which always makes it pop even more. He has a few scars. He has the dotted pattern. The red almost looks like he's had open heart surgery or something, but that's just the nature of this Yautja. But really, really nice job on the body and the sculpt. The bandages could have been better. I've seen much better bandages from Prime 1 Studio. Typically they're white, so it could be the fact that they're black, but or they're supposed to be moist. You do have a bit of mixed media like we talked about. It looks really good. It just feels cheap. I'm not a fan of this. This may be the lion or the wolf. The blood on it is orange. That doesn't make sense to me at all because you assume this is maybe the wolf right here. It's a little more orange on camera than it is in real life, but it's definitely orange. So I think that's a big miss on the paint. And even some of the devices that we looked at earlier in design, they have a little bit of a plastic effect. Like here is the, not the combi stick, the item he can throw wrapped up like we talked about. Little plastic effect. The quills look great coming out. Fantastic anatomy on him, in my opinion. Shield, they did a really nice job. All the weapons they did, so they're not metal, but they did a really nice job, whether it's the claws or the combi stick. And then here's his portrait. So again, you got to remember that this Predator is not as good looking as the other ones. They're, he's a really ugly motherfucker. But so like just the teeth are kind of strange and weird, but that's who he is. But I would have liked to see in the gums especially, maybe some more detail. It's just kind of blotted on. I do like what they did with the head. Again, not a fan of decal eyes. The mandibles do look really nice. The bone on there. So overall, not as good as the other statues. It'll be interesting. As I said, I'm opening up Scar here. Probably not for a week or so, but to get a comparison off that. Still superior to most competitors. This, in my opinion, is just one of Prime Studio's best lines. So I expected a little bit more, but I'm still happy with it. So I give the sculpt a 5 out of 5 on this, but I'm going to go ahead and give the paint a 4 out of 5. While the base would probably be higher than that, obviously the Feral Predator is the main focus. Value is an interesting one on this. So they made 3 different versions. They made a deluxe bonus, which is what I have. It has everything. They made a deluxe, which doesn't have like the clamp and like one or other thing. And then they made a regular version, and they ranged in price anywhere from $2,700 to $3,000 plus shipping. They only made 200 total. 100 are the one I have, and then 50 of the other groups. I believe that's one of the smallest edition sizes they've made for a main character. They have a few secondary Predator characters that the edition size is that small. And it comes from a decent movie. And it's very different. If you have the space and the funds to buy these Predator statues, a lot of the photos I've seen online of people buying them are like me. They have most of them. You definitely want this one. So I think there's really good value. I think that you can get your money back for sure. And that's in 2026, where buying statues is a little bit tougher and resell is really tough. So I think the value is at least a 3 out of 5, which is a good score on my channel. Could be a 4 out of 5 in the future. Who's to say? Does this have the X factor? Is it a 5 out of 5 statue? I don't think, it's definitely not my favorite of the Predators, which, you know, after I get the last Predator statue in, which could be 10 years from now, I'm going to do another huge countdown. It's a 4 out of 5 for sure. It's really impressive. I really like it. I like that you have some different display options, not every single one. And I'm definitely going to keep these handy to switch them out every once in a while. What do you think? Did you like this movie? That's what I'd like to know in the comments. We're still doing statue giveaways, and I have a bunch more Predator statues coming. And a hint, 2 weeks from today, the Scar Predator review will drop. So make sure you subscribe to the channel and hit the bell notification for that, because you have to be subscribed to win these statue giveaways as well. Thank you for watching. I'll talk to you guys soon. I don't know what I keep doing this for. Thank you so much for tuning in. I really appreciate it. Yes, we're still giving away $1,000 statues at every 5,000 subscriber milestone. You have to make sure you're subbed to the channel, you like the video, and then leave a comment. We're going to pick a random comment on a random video and give away those statues. In the meantime, check out some of these other videos and my social media. Talk to you soon. Take care.